Mike, how do I make more money fast? I hear this one all the time, and my response, my go-to response is conversations plus connection equals conversion, regardless of what you're looking to convert. And the first step is really just asking the right question. See, let's talk sales. The problem with most sales systems these days is that we're always shooting for trial yeses, trial close, get yes, 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 so that by the end of it, they're just programmed automatically to say yes. The trick with that is that we see it coming. We can smell that used car salesman fucking miles away, right? Instead, we need a pattern disruption. And the way that I've learned, two of the most powerful ways is one, the no-oriented question. I've been studying Chris Voss now for about 5 years, and he's the FBI hostage negotiator, a dude that knows a thing or two about negotiation and sales and getting what he needs, life or death type situation. He's pretty good at it. The no-oriented question, for instance, you could say, can you see how this hat will make your head look right? And the person would be programmed to say, yeah, of course. Sure. And somebody's selling that hat, they'll say yes. And that's a trial yes. That's a standard practice in all of the sales crap. To switch that just slightly is to put it in a no-oriented question. So you want to get a no out of the person. Would it be ridiculous to see that hat on your head? No, it wouldn't be ridiculous at all. Pop it on. There you go. Would it be wild to imagine you looking great in that hat? See, you're looking for a no. That's a no-oriented question. You can do this in sales all the time. Would it be ridiculous to assume that you want to make more sales as a personal trainer, that you want to make more impact? No, of course that wouldn't be wild. That wouldn't be ridiculous. That's exactly what I want. And what that does is it drops the guard of the other person across the table, whether that's dating, whether that's sales, whether that's trying to get your kids to do the dishes. It doesn't matter. Going for the no is a great way to disrupt the typical sales process for most people, especially in Western civilization. So if you do use a yes, try this. And this one, I believe, comes from Dale Carnegie. I believe I was reading it in there in his book. Would you be willing to? Now, what rational, genuine, heart-centered person wouldn't be willing to? So insert here after that. So if you do choose to use a yes, there is a way where you can get more out of that person by using would you be willing to, or another one I really like is would you be open to? And that gives a sense of choice. The person has a choice to say yes or no. And that, rather than can you do this, that's me asking, that's a yes or no. And that people feel shitty when they say no, honestly. So put it in their court if you are using a yes. Now, another way, like I said, another way that we can use better questions is by removing the why question and only use what we know as calibrated questions, hows and whats. Hows and whats versus whys are much more supportive. The why is going to put you on defense. So if you're sitting there, and again, we'll use the hat, you're thinking, hey, Mike, why'd you wear that hat today? I'm immediately like, why? What the hell's wrong with my hat? I like this hat. This is a great hat. I immediately get a sense of defense because I've got to defend myself like it's something wrong. And where this comes from, again, Chris Voss, and his book, Never Split the Difference. I'll make sure that's in the show notes as well here. The thing about the calibrated question, the how and the what, is it avoids that confrontation. You can say the same thing. How did you come to the decision of putting that hat on today? You can even say it with a little bit of sting. Or what motivated you to put that hat on today? Or what motivated you to wear that hat? Simple as that. That's a very different feeling. Like, listen to it. Why did you wear that hat? Or what motivated you to make that choice or wear that hat? So the way we can do this in personal training is saying something, using a question, we'll use the why versus the what or the how. As an example, the why would be, why do you want a personal trainer? People, that's an immediate sense of defense. Like, shouldn't I want like, and I feel defensive. Simply switching the why out for a how is, how did you come to the conclusion to get a personal trainer? Or what motivated you to start looking at your health and wellness more intently, right? Those are two different ways of taking the same kind of theory of a question and making it much more connected. The whole idea of that man, I've had so many people that come to me like, how do I make more money? Well, it's because you're losing the connection. You're having a conversation, but you have no connection because you're putting people on defense with questions like that, with the why. So we break down that connection part. The second thing I want to bring up is oftentimes we lose that connection because we are talking about ourselves, especially in a coaching or in a management leadership role. We're talking about ourselves like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I want you to think back to the last block party or the last house party or the last whatever kind of get together you were at. Think about that. The most interested person is quite often the most interesting person. And why is that? Because we're asking questions. We're finding out. I love it because it's like holding my cards tight in here, nice and tight, and learning so much about the other people so I know where I can be applicable or helpful or where I can connect them. That's what I do when I go into social settings like that, is I typically just ask a bunch of questions. Think about this. Next time you're out and doing a social gathering, there's this, again, another technique from the book of Chris Voss, labeling. This is where you reframe what they just said. So maybe I ask, hey, what got you inspired to do what you do? Or what gets you out of bed every day? They give me their answer. Maybe they're a doctor. Maybe they're a musician. Whatever the case is. Sounds like you really love helping people. Seems like you get a lot of enjoyment out of assisting other people and supporting them. What we want to avoid is what I'm hearing, because again, that's turning it back to me. That's turning it back to you. You don't need that. Remove yourself from the situation. Be intent on making it about the person that's sitting across from you. And when you do that, you show a genuine interest. You got to be genuine about it. You can't just do it and it's going to come off shitty if you're just sending it in. So be genuine with your connection and be genuine with your interest. Oh, sounds like you really enjoy that. Sounds like you're a very passionate individual. Even when you get into conflict, this shit works. Sounds like you had a reason to say that. That's a really good way to hold your cards and not get defensive and let them explain. Because what happens when you say, sounds like, insert here, they go, yeah, absolutely. Or it was a mislabel and they go, no, that's not it at all. And that can be useful as well, especially in negotiation, especially in sales. So keep that in mind. Labeling is a really, really great way to keep the party going without putting you at in the spotlight. And this is coming from the guy that spent at least a decade of being everything in the spotlight. I had all the answers to all the questions and I needed to be in the spotlight. And what I realized is that I was having a lot of conversations. I had zero connection with people. I was just like in my own world, very much on a pedestal, very much egocentric. And I didn't enjoy that. And what happened is I did very, very few conversion in sales and relationships. It just wasn't a good thing. As soon as I integrated more genuine, authentic connection with other people, that's when the game changed, right? Another way to pretend we're back at the block party, back at the social gathering. Another great way that I've found is actually from a dear friend of mine and mentor himself, men's mentor, Ryan Walla. He introduced me and a group of coaches to the questions game, which is really, really cool. And I think it's really underrated, especially in the fitness world. how many coaches out there have heard about the dig with why, the 5 why technique? So you get somebody that gets to a goal, they want to lose 10 pounds, and you go, why? And then they go a little bit deeper and you go, why? What did we say about why just moments ago? That motherfucker is going to give you the defense, like when somebody says why to me wanting to lose 10 pounds, I want to respond with why the fuck not? Like it's a very defensive, innate response. We just get it from when we were kids. Why'd you spill that glass of water? Why'd you spill the milk? Why'd you, whatever, right? That's where it comes from. So like we're trained, regardless of culture, we're trained to know that why is like something to be defensive about. So especially in sales, avoid it completely, please. Okay. It's total bullshit. Use calibrated questions. Keep on asking deeper, more thoughtful questions. So with the questions game, when somebody says, we'll go back to that, what motivated you to become a doctor? They give it an answer and you go, wow, sounds like, and you can label, hey, sounds like you really enjoy helping people. And they'll go, yeah, absolutely, I really do. Well, what about the healthcare industry do you think we could do better? And we can get deeper and we can have a full conversation. You never ever really ask. They don't get to know you, and that's okay because you want to make it about them. That's what's going to create this connection. There's going to be time where they're going to be like, whoa, let's talk about you. They're going to literally stop you. I've had this happen countless times. They're going to be like, whoa, man, let's talk about you. We've been talking about me. Like they feel exhausted about talking about themselves. That's where we want to get, because that's your job. You want to put these people up that make them feel like they're the only person in the room, whether you're on a date, whether you're in a sales call, whether you're trying to get your kids to do dishes. You want to make them feel like the most important person in the whole world, that there's nobody else around them. That's what's going to create the connection and make the conversation worthwhile. When you've got the conversation, you've built connection, you've now got a conversion. And it may not happen right there. That's the other thing, right? It may not happen right then and there, but you've got the connection. You can nurture that relationship. Again, we talk about this in my book, The ABCs of Creating Connection, a guide to building meaningful relationships, not just relationships, but meaningful relationships, okay? The third thing that we want to focus in on that I think is just not done very well in society today, especially with the day and age of being on the screen. The more we're connected, the less we're actually connected. The more that we're on the screens, we're actually disconnected from the reality of what world is, all right? So we fail to have those human moments. Create moments, you create connection. I'll say that again. You create a moment, you create a connection, okay? Find out what this person likes in their coffee. That's one of my favorite things. Find out what their walk-up jam is. Write them a handwritten note. If this is a sales thing, if you're sitting there like, how can I really stand up and stand out against, become the best coach or become the best sales guy, become the best whatever it is that you're doing? How do you stand up without, being a ding-dong? This is one of the ways, just doing the little things, like write a handwritten note, send it to them, find out what they like in their coffee. The next time you meet up, you pick up the coffee, you pick up the bill, and you surprise the pants off them because you remembered what their favorite coffee is. Man, oh man. I'll link the video to the first time I did that I learned so much, because coffee, wow, definitely takes a lot of conflict out, turns conflict into conversation. And when we can have a nice, easy, conflict-free conversation, even in those critical conversations, speaking to the managers and the leaders out there, we have to have those tough conversations. And one of the quickest ways is to bring everybody down, get the defense off so we can just have a chat. Because that chat is going to lead to connection, which is going to lead to conversion. So whether that's like reprimanding people, or whether that's like looking for a performance review, whether that's like, unfortunately, having to let somebody go, we want to make sure that that's the conversion that we go for with limited conflict, right? Now, I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever found that what you give is what you receive? I'm like, I've got a great example comes to mind for me is I remember a few years ago, I was ready. It was middle of winter in Canada and super cold outside, probably minus 30. I took my phone out because I wanted to video an ice bath that I was going to do outside in the minus 30. So I'm smashing the ice. I get it to a point where I've got the water and I'm ready to go in. And I go, oh man, really hope I don't drop my phone in. I'm Instagram live. Really hope I don't drop my phone into the water here. Well, what do you think happened after that? Spoiler alert, the phone definitely fell into the water. That's the way the mind works. Okay, that's known as what the reticular activating system does. Now, background on the reticular activating system, the RAS, think of it as the bouncer to the club that is your mind. Okay, it lets in all the thoughts that you're thinking about and it keeps out all of the ones that you're not. Okay. So it's the way of like allowing you to process what's going on around you. Because if you were to take in all of the sensory input in any given time, your brain would implode, right? So keep that in mind. What you put out there is what you're going to get back. So if you're a coach sitting there going like, I really want some more referrals or testimonials, what if you started referring out clients that were maybe looking for, maybe they've hit a plateau or they need something else that's not quite your specialty. Sure, you can wear all the hats, but not quite your specialty. You know somebody that can do it better. Refer them out. That's going to be a really, really good way of showing trust, client trust, okay? Maybe it's a business thing and you need a testimonial for the work that you've done. Well, what if you wrote a testimonial about your mentor? How they improved your life or how your boss has really stepped up and helped make the workplace feel a little better, or even your spouse. Just recognize in public. That's the thing, is that shine the spotlight on people in public if you want the spotlight shine back on you, and just do it anyways. Don't even look for that reciprocated bullshit, because that's, again, if you're doing it with like malintent and I got to get this kind of mentality, it's not going to work out. It's not genuine. Genuinely start thinking about the people that have impacted you and talk about it. That's authentic. That's the shit that's going to work, okay? Energy exchange is a real thing, folks. All of this shows that you genuinely care. And the thing I've learned is that care and compassion are two of the biggest parts of building that solid connection. So what do we say? When we pair that connection with conversations, we convert. Now, whether that is dating or getting your kids to do the dishes or doing better in sales, doesn't matter. We as humans crave connection. So, great. How do we integrate this, right? I host a digital party. That's like, think of it, half workshop, half networking mixer. And I call it the Connection Clinic. And we run these on the last Friday of each month. They're always themed, all right? So sometimes we've got like singles night. Sometimes we got business mixers. It's really dependent on what I'm feeling and what the response, what the crowd wants, right? I'm a host. It's just a party. It's a lot of fun. We go through these types of exercises and then we split up into breakout rooms and practice the skills on each other. Sometimes we'll even do it in front of the full group. We give feedback, we get feedback, everybody has a good time, okay? Most often, people come out telling me they've got brand new skills that they can integrate right away, which is amazing. I love that. They've got new friends, new connections, and sometimes, depending on the night and the nature, even new business deals or pleasure opportunities, right? So if you'd like to join for the next one, I'd love to have you. I'll make sure there's a link so you can get on the guest list and tell me a little bit more about what you're specifically looking for, so I can play the matchmaker and make sure it's a good fit for you on there, and make sure that you get everything that you need to feel supported and you come out of there getting what you're looking for. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it was a little bit of a longer one. Hopefully you got some value. And if you did, I'd really appreciate the old tip of the hat, a little nod. Again, keep in mind, we get what we give. And I want to put it out there. It's also very important to ask I would love for you to hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it out with somebody you care about. And when you're ready, I would love to have a conversation with you, see what we can do to break you through that next level. Remember, one more time, we get what we give, okay? And we're all about creating the connections that convert one conversation at a time. So that's it. That's all. Stay sweet, y'all. Peace.